Have you ever wondered what it takes to balance authority and approachability as a leader? Vision versus obligation. Leadership isn't just about power, it's about vision, responsibility, and connection. And no story illustrates this better than the leadership styles of Rhysand and Tamlin from the book series of A Court of Thorns and Roses. Rhysand embodies vision and growth, while Tamlin struggles under the weight of obligation. But their differences aren't just fantasy, they reflect the challenges many leaders face in balancing power, obligation, vision, and kindness. In this video, we'll break down their leadership approaches and what they teach us about being a new manager. So even if you're not familiar with the series, you'll leave with actionable insights. We will divide this analysis in 3 parts: the story and character context, strengths and weaknesses, and balancing authority and approachability. By the way, I am Ruth and I have returned more than $100 million in savings and cash gains to top companies in America. And now I teach other leaders how to do the same. Alright, let's begin with the context. Who are Rhysand and Tamlin? Let's set the stage. Rhysand and Tamlin are 2 High Lords, powerful rulers in this fantasy world of ACOTAR. Both are tasked with leading their people through complex challenges, but their leadership styles couldn't be more different. Rhysand is the High Lord of the Night Court. High Lord is like the governor or the king of a place, while Tamlin is the High Lord of the Spring Court. They are Fae, which are these magical, almost immortal beings, very strong and beautiful, and as High Lords, they have special powers to protect their people. They live in Prythian, which is divided by 7 courts. But for this particular analysis, we will only focus on the Spring Court and the Night Court. Alright, so Tamlin is a leader who inherited a role he did not want. He was actually training in military. He's strong and has powers, as all High Lords do, but he did not have any passion for leading. He's weighted down by the responsibilities passed on him by his father, and while he's strong and capable, he lacks vision. Thus, his leadership style is reactive. He enforces the old ways without questioning whether they serve his people or not. For example, they had this yearly tradition where every creature living in the Spring Court had to pay an amount in meat, treasures, or resources as payment for the High Lord's protection. If a creature did not pay, the tradition dictates they must be killed. Tamlin followed this rule without questioning, as this has been the tradition for hundreds of years in his court, with the rationale or understanding that if he has spared one creature for not paying, others will follow and break the equilibrium. He never thought of other alternatives because he just followed the traditions and he was not really interested in leading. For him, this was a duty he had to endure. Thus, he just followed the traditions without challenging them or thinking of better ways. He was following the steps he thought he had to follow as part of the obligation that he inherited. This obligation that was put into his shoulder as High Lord of this beautiful magical place. And this is what happens, for example, when we promote the best performer without assessing their vision or leadership potential. Or well, even worse, if we were to give someone a leading role just because this person is the nephew of the VP. Leadership can be taught, yes, but passion cannot be taught, and for you to keep engaged, strategizing, improving the organization under your care, you must like it. You must be a little obsessed with it if you really want to make a change. If not, you will just follow the same old traditions that may no longer serve the people or can be improved for the benefit of everyone. Alright, then we have Rhysand, the High Lord of the Night Court. Rhysand, on the other hand, wanted to lead. He was not only raised to lead, but he truly envisioned himself as a leader. He spent years observing his father's flaws and envisioning a better way. When he steps into his role, he doesn't just take a role out of duty, he has a vision. He balances his authority with fair ruling, empathy, protection, and putting his people first always. His people well-being and protection are his priority, creating a culture of respect and loyalty. For example, this is a fantasy book, of course, but he spent 50 years of his life as a sex slave of an evil queen to protect his people. He hid with ancient magic his people's city and, of course, the people, and deceived that evil queen that conquered the whole continent Rhysand to keep his family, friends, and people safe from this evil and merciless ruler. He also had a taxation system in his city, had a lot of regulations for free market, and supported people's well-being with a lot of social programs. Killing for not paying your taxes was not a thing. If anything, vulnerable parts of the society received support and aid to enable quality of life for everyone. Alright, now let's analyze their personality and leadership profile. Let's start with Tamlin, High Lord of the Spring Court. These strengths. Tamlin is a protector at heart. He values tradition and structure, which can create stability. He is decisive and unyielding when it comes to defending his people, as long as traditions are followed. His weaknesses. Tamlin's leadership lacks adaptability. He sticks rigidly to the old ways even when they no longer serve his people. He isolates himself from his team, Lucian and the Sentinels, and focuses on control rather than collaboration. His inability to delegate or trust others leads to a draconian leadership style where he has the last word and he does not accept dissenting opinions. For instance, whenever he took a decision and his close court members expressed him a contrarian opinion, he got mad and disregarded their point of view, like when he was overprotecting Fair and Lucian tried to persuade him to stop doing it. Or when Fair told him the tradition of killing people who cannot pay was unfair, and he just told her she did not understand the tradition. Which, yes, that is a very delicate line to pass because Fair, as a foreigner, must respect his land's traditions. But he did not even reflect about it, and he had the power to change things as a High Lord. And this is the key lesson on modern leadership. Leaders who focus only on protecting their team without empowering them risk losing trust and engagement. Leadership isn't about control, it's about collaboration, empowering, guiding, and listening to ensure you are finding the best way for your team to succeed. Alright, now let's analyze Rhysand, High Lord of the Night Court. And remember to subscribe to learn more about leadership strategies incorporate. Rhysand's strengths. Rhysand is a visionary leader. He doesn't just react to challenges, he anticipates them and creates solutions that benefit everyone. He empowers his team by recognizing their strengths and giving them the autonomy to succeed. Rhysand understands that leadership isn't about being the strongest, it's about making others stronger. And we're able to see this when we realize that what he has is this inner circle of very smart and powerful people who help him take decisions to safeguard the peace and well-being of the city and people of the Night Court. All of this while he gives each of these inner circle characters the duties that align to each of their strengths. He does not work alone, he works with them and he constantly empowers them. He gives them the tools to be better and thus protect the people of the Night Court. For example, when he empowered Fair to train, learn to read, and control her powers. The same with each of the other members. He always wanted them to be better, to improve. If they got better, the whole Night Court will be safer. His weaknesses. His strategy of manipulating people and having a very political approach and different masks and faces depending on who he talked with. I understand this is strategic, but there may be more ethic ways to do things, like earning people's trust and respect by being kind and helpful. For example, when they went to the Summer Court and decided to steal the book they needed to save the continent and the world, instead of explaining the situation and asking it, they just stole it. And this is a fantasy situation, right? So the stakes of them not obtaining the book were way too high for them risking it. But in general, I think that he is too smart and charismatic and he does not need to manipulate people that much. He can be kind and helpful to win people's hearts and their favors. And he does that with the people from his court, but he does not trust people outside it. In today's modern world, situations between organizations and companies are not alive or that thing, so there is no need to manipulate and be fake to get what you want. There are more ethical ways to have healthy partnerships. So the lesson is that leaders who empower their team and create a shared vision foster loyalty and innovation. Like he did, picturing this lovely thriving vision of Bellaris, their magical and lovely city. Great leaders don't hoard power, they share it. Alright, now let's analyze the final point, balancing authority and approachability. Tamlin, the High Lord of the Spring Court, leans too heavily on authority, which creates distance between him and his team. Rhysand, the High Lord of the Night Court, balances authority with approachability and empowerment, earning both respect and trust. Thus, if you tend to rely on authority more like Tamlin does, focus on building connections with your team. Ask for their input, delegate responsibilities, and show vulnerability when appropriate. If you prioritize approachability like Rhysand, ensure you are setting clear boundaries and expectations. Authority is essential for maintaining a structure and accountability. So, what can we learn from this fantastic word, Rhysand and Tamlin, in terms of leadership? Leadership isn't just about power, it's about balance. Rhysand's vision and empowerment make him an inspiring leader, while Tamlin's struggles remind us of the pitfalls of leadership without passion or vision. Whether you're a fan of ACOTAR or not, the takeaway is clear. To be an effective leader, you need to balance authority with approachability, empowering others, and having a powerful vision. Having a vision will give you a drive to create wonderful things. Versus when a leader has its role and they see their duty as an obligation. They may be good for stability, but that will not be enough to grow and keep up. See you around. Bye.